The large meeting hall fell silent as John Clark stepped forward. His worn blue uniform stood out among the alien delegates. Tall windows revealed the curved space station hanging above Earth. This was humanity's first official meeting with the Galactic Council, and everything felt wrong. "We come in peace," John said, his voice steady despite his nervousness. "Earth wants to join your galactic community." Lisa Ward stood beside him. Her military background made her stand straight and confident. She watched the 7 alien representatives with careful eyes. They looked strange to her. Some had too many limbs, others had skin that changed colors, and one was just a floating ball of light. The lead alien, a tall purple being with 4 arms named High Counselor Zex, made a sound like laughter. "Humans," Zex said in a voice that sounded like metal scraping. "We have watched your species for decades. You fight wars over small bits of land. You pollute your only planet. You create weapons that could destroy yourselves. The Council has decided. You are too dangerous." John stepped forward. "Please, we've changed. Our last world war was 50 years ago. We've cleaned our oceans and air. We only developed faster than light travel to explore, not to conquer." Lisa added, "We bring new ideas. Human creativity could benefit everyone." The ball of light glowed brighter, speaking in a voice that somehow felt both hot and cold. "Your kind learns too quickly. In just 3 centuries, you went from horse-drawn vehicles to space travel. Such rapid advancement is dangerous." "The vote is final," said another alien with green scales. 7-0. Humans will be exiled to the fringe sectors. John's face went pale. "The fringe. Those systems are almost uninhabitable." "Precisely," Zex said. "You may take 20 colony ships, 100,000 of your people. The rest must remain on Earth, never to leave your solar system again. If human ships are found beyond your system, they will be destroyed." Lisa's fists tightened. "You can't do this. We haven't done anything wrong." "This is mercy," Zex replied. "The Council considered sterilizing your planet completely." 3 months later, 20 massive ships floated above Earth. Each one held 5,000 volunteers, the bravest humans willing to face exile rather than stay confined to Earth forever. John walked through the main deck of the lead ship, named Defiance. Engineers checked systems while families secured their few belongings in small cabins. Lisa joined him, her face tired from weeks of planning. "The Council ships are waiting to escort us out," she said. "They'll make sure we go straight to the fringe." "How are the colonists doing?" John asked. "Scared, but determined. We have the best minds from every field. Doctors, farmers, engineers, soldiers. If anyone can survive the fringe, it's this group." A young engineer approached them with a tablet. "The drive system modifications are complete, sir," she said to John. "We can't outrun the Council ships yet, but once we're in the fringe." John nodded. "The Council thinks they're sending us to die slowly. They don't understand human stubbornness." Lisa smiled for the first time in weeks. "Their mistake. We've packed these ships with equipment, seeds, and technology the Council doesn't even know we have." The station announced the final boarding call. Families said tearful goodbyes to relatives staying behind. Some people on Earth held signs, "We'll wait for your return." As the ships prepared to leave, John looked at the main screen showing Earth growing smaller. "The Council thinks this is our end," he said quietly. "But this is just our beginning. They've taken everything from us except the one thing that matters." "What's that?" asked a nearby colonist. John turned, his eyes determined. "Our humanity. And that's the one thing that will help us not just survive, but someday return stronger than they can imagine." The 20 ships moved away from Earth, heading toward the distant stars of the fringe, carrying the future of humanity to the edges of the galaxy. 10 years passed since the exile. The planet Perseverance had rust-colored skies and thin air that made breathing difficult, but humans learned to adapt. Alan Foster wiped sweat from his forehead as he climbed out of the deep mining pit. Once a geologist on Earth, he now led the mining operations on Perseverance. His skin had grown tough from years under the harsh sun of this world. "Did you find anything?" asked Sam, a young miner who followed him up. Alan smiled and opened his hand. A small blue crystal glowed in his palm. "Found a new vein of it. The biggest one yet." The crystal was part of a mineral they had named amplite. It wasn't found on Earth or any known council world. When placed near any energy source, it multiplied the output by 10 times. This discovery had changed everything for the colonies. 5 miles away, in the main settlement called Haven, Susan Miller worked in her lab. Plants grew in special containers around her. As a biotechnologist, Susan had spent years creating plants that could survive on this harsh world. "The new wheat strain is growing 30% faster," she told her assistant, "and it needs less water too." Through the lab window, Susan could see the dome that protected the main part of Haven. Outside the dome, large machines pumped modified bacteria into the soil and air. These bacteria slowly changed the planet to be more like Earth, a process called terraforming. Lisa Ward, now with gray in her hair, walked through the busy streets of Haven. Children born on Perseverance ran past her, playing. They were stronger than Earth children, with larger lungs to breathe the thin air. Lisa entered the Central Command building where John Clark waited. Maps and reports covered the walls. "How are the other colonies doing?" she asked. John pointed to the screen showing New Dawn and Hope, the other 2 planets humans had settled. "New Dawn's ocean farms are producing twice what we expected. Hope's solar fields are fully operational with the amplite crystals." "And the Council? Any sign of them?" Lisa asked. "Our long-range sensors picked up a ship entering the system yesterday. Looks like they finally sent someone to check if we're dead yet," John said with a small smile. Lisa laughed. "They're in for a surprise." The Council scout ship entered orbit around Perseverance the next day. Its sensors scanned the surface, detecting the domed cities, farms, and mining operations. Inside the ship, 2 Council observers watched the data with shock. "Impossible," said the first alien, his scales shifting color with his surprise. "This planet was uninhabitable. They should have died within the first year." "Look at these energy readings," said the second. "They're higher than some council worlds, and the atmosphere is changing. They're terraforming the planet." Down on the surface, Alan stood at the edge of Haven, looking up at the sky where he knew the council ship watched. "Do you think they're worried?" asked Susan, who joined him. Alan put an arm around her shoulders. "They should be. We were supposed to die here, forgotten. Instead, we're thriving." In the distance, a new housing area was being built. Children played in a park where earth plants now grew in the open air. Construction vehicles moved back and forth, powered by engines that used the amplite crystals. "We're not just surviving anymore," Susan said, watching a flock of earth birds fly overhead. "We're building something new out here, something better." The council ship continued its silent watch, its observers reporting back to their leaders about the humans who refused to be forgotten at the edge of the galaxy. 30 years had passed since humanity was exiled. The 3 colony worlds were now home to over 500,000 people. Children born in the fringe knew Earth only from stories and pictures. Kyle Bennett guided his small scout ship through an asteroid field at the far edge of the fringe. The son of first-generation colonists, he had never seen Earth. His job was to map unexplored areas and find resources for the growing colonies. "Control, this is Scout 7, Kyle said into his radio. "I'm picking up strange energy readings from the large asteroid ahead." "Roger, Scout 7, came the reply. "Can you investigate?" Kyle landed his ship on the asteroid's surface. Wearing his spacesuit, he walked toward a dark opening in the rock. His light revealed a metal door covered in strange symbols. "Control, I think I found something artificial. Definitely not natural," he reported. Inside, Kyle discovered a vast chamber filled with technology, unlike anything humans had built. Sleeping machines lined the walls. Strange lights glowed from panels covered in symbols. "This is incredible," he whispered, recording everything with his suit camera. 3 days later, Nancy Bell stood in the chamber, studying the symbols. As the colony's top xenoarchaeologist, she had been flown in immediately after Kyle's discovery. "Can you read it?" Kyle asked, watching her work. Nancy nodded slowly, her eyes wide with excitement. "Some of it. These symbols match fragments found on ancient ruins across the galaxy. This language belonged to the precursors." "The precursors? I thought they were just a myth," said Kyle. "Every species in the galaxy has stories about them. An ancient race that supposedly seeded the galaxy with life, then disappeared millions of years ago," Nancy explained. "The Council has been searching for their technology for centuries." Nancy connected her tablet to one of the panels. Data began to flow as the ancient machines responded to her commands. This is impossible," she said, staring at the screen. "What is it?" Kyle asked. "According to this data, humans are more closely related to the precursors than any other known species in the galaxy," Nancy said. "Our DNA matches theirs by nearly 95%. Kyle struggled to understand. "You mean we're their descendants? Or they engineered us specifically?" "Either way, this explains why the Council feared us," Nancy said. "They must have suspected this connection." Over the next week, more scientists arrived at what they now called the Precursor Outpost. They discovered blueprints for ships and weapons far more advanced than anything the Council possessed. In the main colony on Perseverance, John Clark and Lisa Ward, both now in their 70s, met with the colony leaders to discuss the discovery. "If this information is correct, we're not just random exiles," John said. "We might be the heirs to the most advanced civilization the galaxy has ever known." "The Council must have suspected this," Lisa added. "That's why they were so eager to get rid of us. They feared what we might become." Sam Adams, the head of colony security, looked troubled. "If the Council finds out about this outpost, they'll come with everything they have to destroy it, and us with it." "Then we need to be ready before they find out," said John. "These blueprints show ships that could outmatch anything the Council has." Lisa studied the star map they had found in the outpost. It showed hundreds of precursor facilities scattered across the galaxy, many in regions the Council claimed. "For 30 years, we've just tried to survive," she said. "Now it's time to do more than that. The Council exiled us, thinking we would die quietly. Instead, we may have found our true heritage and the means to reclaim our place in the galaxy." Kyle looked at the gathered leaders. "So what do we do now?" John stood up, determination in his old eyes. "We build. We prepare. And when we're ready, we show the Council that exiling humanity was the biggest mistake they ever made." 5 years after finding the Precursor Outpost, humanity worked in secret, deep inside asteroids and hidden moons. They built ships using the ancient designs. Admiral Frank Howard stood on the bridge of the Defiance, humanity's first warship built with precursor technology. It was sleek and black, able to move without being detected by Council sensors. The ship was powered by amplite crystals, giving it more energy than any Council vessel of similar size. "All systems ready, Admiral," said his second-in-command. "Cloaking field is stable." Frank nodded. At 52, he had spent his adult life preparing to defend the colonies. Now they were ready to do more than defend. "Set course for the Novan trade route," he ordered. "Let's see what this ship can really do." The Novan route was a busy shipping lane where Council cargo ships carried resources from their outer worlds. The Council had grown rich by taking resources from hundreds of planets, many belonging to species too weak to resist. 3 days later, a Council supply convoy moved slowly through the route. 10 cargo ships protected by 2 military escorts. They never saw the Defiance coming. "Target the escort ships only," Frank ordered. "Disable their engines, but try not to destroy them." The Defiance fired strange blue energy weapons. The Council escort's engines died instantly. Before they could call for help, The Defiance's electronic systems blocked their communications. The cargo ships panicked, trying to flee. The Defiance moved between them, forcing them to stop. Frank's voice transmitted to all the ships. "This is Admiral Howard of the Human Free Fleet. Your military escorts are disabled but not destroyed. We have no desire to harm civilian crews. Prepare to be boarded." Human teams wearing advanced armor entered the cargo ships. They took only specific supplies the colonies needed, then returned to the Defiance. "You won't get away with this," said the captain of one council escort. "The council will hunt you down." Frank smiled. "They'll have to find us first." The Defiance activated its cloaking field and vanished. Back in council space, Diana Collins worked in shadows. Once a junior diplomat before the exile, she now led human intelligence operations. Her network of spies included aliens from species mistreated by the council. "The council is confused by the attack," reported one of her contacts, a small furry alien named Zix. "They don't know who did it. Some blame pirates, others think it's a rival council species." Diana smiled. "Perfect. What about the other information I asked for?" Zix handed her a data disk. "Ship movements, military base locations, everything you wanted. Many of us are tired of council rule. The humans are not the first species they try to eliminate. And you won't be the last we help," Diana promised. Over the next months, more human ships joined the Defiance. They struck council supply lines and outposts across the sector, always vanishing before reinforcements arrived. They took only what the colonies needed and avoided killing when possible. In the Grand Council chamber, the 7 ruling species argued among themselves. "3 more attacks this week," shouted the representative of the Voltar, his skin flashing red with anger. "Someone is targeting our shipments." "The humans are confined to the fringe," said High Counselor Zex. "They'd barely survive there." "Then who is attacking us?" demanded another council member. Unknown to them, a small device hidden in the chamber transmitted everything to Diana's network. On Perseverance, the colony leaders watched recordings of the council meeting. Despite their age, John and Lisa still advised the new generation of leaders. "They still underestimate us," John said with satisfaction. "They can't imagine we've not just survived, but thrived." Lisa nodded. "Divide and conquer. The council species are beginning to suspect each other. Soon, they'll be too busy fighting among themselves to notice us gathering allies." The Defiance moved quietly through an unexplored region of space. For months, Admiral Frank Howard had been pushing deeper into the unknown parts beyond the fringe. His sensors had picked up strange energy signals coming from this direction. "Contact at 2,000 kilometers, reported his sensor officer. It's a ship, sir, but unlike any design we've seen before." On the view screen, a strange vessel appeared. It looked like a cluster of spheres connected by glowing bridges. It was twice the size of the Defiance. "They're scanning us," said the communications officer. "They're trying to make contact." Frank straightened his uniform. "Open a channel." The screen changed to show a humanoid figure with pale blue skin and large dark eyes. Symbols flashed across the bottom of the screen. "Our translator can't understand their language," said the communications officer. "Bring Olivia Martinez to the bridge," Frank ordered. Minutes later, Olivia arrived. At 33, she was the colony's most talented linguist. "They're sending the same message repeatedly," Olivia said, studying the symbols. "It seems like a greeting and a question about our origins." Olivia worked with the ship's computer to create a response. After several exchanges, she smiled. "I think I understand them now," she said. "They call themselves the Nomads. They were also exiled by the Council, nearly 300 years ago." The Nomad captain, who called himself Vereen, was invited aboard the Defiance. Olivia translated as he spoke with Frank. "Your people and mine share the same enemy," Vereen said. "The Council fears any species that might challenge them. They exiled us when we developed technology that could rival theirs." "How have you survived all these years?" Frank asked. "We became wanderers, moving constantly, gathering resources where we can, Vereen explained. There are others like us. The silicon-based Keth were exiled 500 years ago. The hive mind Vexeri nearly 1,000 years ago. Frank's eyes widened. The Council has been doing this for centuries. Vereen nodded. It is their way of maintaining power. Exile those who might threaten them. Take resources from those too weak to resist. Back on Perseverance, the colony leaders met with Vereen and representatives from the Keth and Vexeri who had joined the Nomads. Diana Collins presented what her spy network had learned. The Council is still arguing among themselves about who is behind the attacks, she said, but they're preparing a large fleet to sweep the fringe and destroy our colonies once and for all. Vereen's translator converted his words. Alone, none of our peoples could stand against the Council. But together, with human precursor technology, nomad navigation skills, Keth mining abilities, and Vexeri communication networks, we could challenge them. Finished John Clark, now in his 80s but still sharp-minded. An alliance of the exiled. Over the next weeks, ships from all 4 species gathered near Perseverance. Human engineers worked alongside nomad navigators. Keth miners extracted more amplite for the fleet's weapons. Vexeri communication experts created a secure network connecting all the Alliance ships. On a Council border world, a public screen showed Council propaganda. A stern-faced alien warned citizens about dangerous exiles and terrorist insurgents threatening peace. A small alien child tugged at her mother's sleeve. "Why do they look scared?" she asked, pointing at the Council officials on the screen. Her mother looked around carefully before whispering, "Because they're losing control. There are rumors that the exiles have returned, and they bring justice with them." In orbit around Perseverance, the Alliance fleet grew larger each day. Human ships with precursor technology. Nomad vessels with unmatched speed. Keth mining ships converted to carriers. Vexeri communication hubs. Frank stood with Vereen on the Defiance's observation deck, watching the gathered fleet. The Council thought they were being clever, Frank said, exiling all potential threats to different corners of the galaxy. Instead, Vereen replied, they created their own worst nightmare. They gave us all a common enemy. The Council Grand Fleet moved through space like a metal storm. 500 warships, the largest gathering of Council military might in centuries. Their target, the human colonies in the fringe. High Commander Zex stood on the bridge of the flagship. "These humans have been a thorn in our side for too long," he said to his officers. "We will crush them once and for all." What Zex didn't know was that Diana's spies had reported the fleet's every move. The Alliance was ready. President Patrick Russell addressed the combined forces from the command center on Perseverance. At 52, he had been born on this harsh world and risen to lead the United Colonies. "Today, we fight not just for human survival," he told the gathered commanders of all 4 species. "We fight for all those the Council has oppressed. Our plan is simple but dangerous." Admiral Frank pointed to the map showing the New Dawn Nebula. "We've spent years studying this nebula. Its gases block Council sensors, but our precursor technology can navigate it perfectly. We'll lure them inside, then strike." The trap was set. Small Alliance ships appeared just outside Council sensor range, then fled toward the nebula when spotted. The Council fleet followed, hungry for victory. "The target is in sight," High Commander reported a Council officer. "The human ships are entering the nebula." "Follow them," ordered Zex. "Don't let them escape." The Council fleet pushed into the colorful gases of the nebula. Their sensors began to fail. Communications became spotty. They slowed, trying to stay together in the blinding clouds. That's when the Alliance struck. Human ships with precursor cloaking appeared suddenly, firing concentrated amplite-powered weapons. Nomad vessels zipped between Council ships, too fast to target. Keth mining ships released special drones that attached to Council vessels and disabled their engines. Vexeri communication systems jammed Council coordination. On the Defiance, Frank watched the battle unfold. Status report. Council fleet is in complete disarray, his officer replied. They can't coordinate their attacks. We've disabled nearly 100 ships already with minimal losses. High Commander Zex watched in horror as his formation fell apart. This is impossible. How are they doing this? A message cut through the jamming, appearing on all council screens. Patrick Russell's face looked out at them. Attention council forces, you are surrounded and outmatched. Your long reign of oppression is ending. Surrender your ships and no more lives need be lost today. Zex snarled. Never. All ships, continue the attack. But it was too late. 3 council species, seeing the battle was lost, ordered their ships to stand down. The remaining loyalists fought on but were quickly disabled. The news of the council defeat spread across the galaxy faster than any official could contain it. On dozens of worlds, people took to the streets. Species that had been under council rule for generations suddenly saw hope. Diana's network broadcast Patrick's message to every corner of the galaxy. People of the galaxy, I am President Patrick Russell of the United Colonies. Today, an alliance of exiled peoples defeated the Council Grand Fleet. We do not seek revenge or domination. We fight for freedom. Freedom for all species to determine their own future without fear. On the Council homeworlds, panic spread among the leadership. 3 of the 7 Council species had already announced they were joining the alliance. Their own people celebrated in the streets. In the New Dawn Nebula, Frank's officers brought High Commander Zex before him. You should have killed us when you had the chance, Frank said. Zex glared with hatred. You humans are a disease. Frank shook his head. No, we're just the cure for your corrupt council. Your mistake wasn't exiling us. Your mistake was thinking we would die quietly. As Alliance ships secured the disabled Council vessels, a new era began to dawn across the galaxy. 5 years after the Battle of New Dawn Nebula, Perseverance looked nothing like the harsh world humans had first settled. Terraforming had turned its red skies blue. Forests and lakes now covered land that was once barren rock. The planet had become a symbol of transformation. On a grassy hill overlooking the capital city, now called Unity, a grand meeting hall had been built. Today, representatives from 86 different species gathered inside. John Clark and Lisa Ward sat in places of honor. Both were in their 80s now, their hair white, their faces lined with age. They had lived to see humanity rise from exiles to leaders. Did you ever imagine this day would come? Lisa asked John as they watched the delegates arrive. John smiled. I hoped, but I never thought it would happen in our lifetime. President Patrick Russell stood at the center of the hall. Beside him were the leaders of the Nomads, the Keth, the Vexari, and representatives from dozens of other species. Today, we signed the Galactic Concordat, Patrick announced, a new agreement between all free peoples of the galaxy. No more will any species dominate others. No more will the strong oppress the weak. The document was displayed on large screens. It established a federation where all member species had equal voice. It guaranteed the rights of all sentient beings. It banned the practice of exile and promised protection for developing civilizations. One by one, the representatives came forward to sign. Former council species signed alongside those they had once ruled. Species that had been enemies for centuries now pledged to work together. Kyle Bennett, now a respected explorer in his 50s, watched from the side of the hall. Beside him stood Vereen of the Nomads. What will you do now that peace has come? Vereen asked. Kyle smiled. Keep exploring. According to the precursor maps, their homeworld is still out there somewhere. I intend to find it. In another part of the galaxy, the remaining council hardliners were confined to their homeworlds. Their military fleets had been dismantled. Monitoring stations ensured they could not rebuild weapons or threaten others again. Diana Collins, head of the new Federation's intelligence service, supervised these stations. They still don't understand how they lost, she told her assistant. They had ruled for thousands of years. They thought they were invincible. "What was their mistake?" asked the young officer. Diana smiled. "They thought isolation was a punishment. They didn't realize it forced us to become stronger, more innovative, more determined." Back at the ceremony, the last signature was added to the Concordat. The hall erupted in cheers and strange sounds of celebration from dozens of different species. Susan Miller, now in her 70s, had tears in her eyes as she watched. The plant she had developed had helped transform 3 worlds. Her children and grandchildren would live in a galaxy far different from the one she had known. "We did it," she whispered to Alan Foster, her husband of 40 years. "We really did it." As the celebration continued, Patrick approached John and Lisa. He bowed respectfully to the 2 elders who had led humanity through its darkest days. "Without you, none of this would have happened," he said. Lisa shook her head. "We just helped our people survive. It was all of you, humans born in exile, who never knew Earth, who built this new future." John looked out at the gathered species, former enemies now allies, former rulers now equals. The council thought they were punishing us by sending us away. Instead, they set us free. Free to build something better than they ever imagined. Outside the hall, ships from dozens of worlds filled the sky above Unity. Among them was a new vessel, larger than any built before. On its side was the name Discovery. Kyle and his crew of humans, nomads, Keth, and Vexori would soon board it, beginning their journey to find the precursor homeworld. The galaxy had exiled humanity. Now, humanity and its allies ruled it, not through fear and oppression as the Council had, but through cooperation, respect, and hope.